month-long 620-kilometer canoe journey through Canada's Côte-Nord region, an area notoriously known for its rugged landscapes and wild rivers. The goal of this trip is to descend the mysterious Aguanish River, and in doing so, connect Western Labrador to the Gulf of the St. Lawrence. The route is going to have many challenges, both physical.
We are literally portaging over a mountain.
And mental.
Cheers, everybody. A Whisky Fireside chat with Alex and Noah from Northern Scavengers. Once again, this is the second time.
Nice to be back.
What are you guys having?
I'm making an old fat. Sorry, go ahead, Noah.
Just going to say it's been a while since last time.
It has been. Stupid COVID. I'm having this. It's actually good stuff. It's cheap, too. It was on sale. $2 off it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, not bad.
I'm making an old fashioned with Maker's Mark. I guess it's like a bourbon.
That's good.
Yeah, I just finished expressing my orange.
Pardon?
My girlfriend bought me this little hammer thing that you like squeeze the little orange rinds, and apparently it expresses the orange fragrance into the drink. I just like saying that I'm expressing the orange.
Okay. You be you. Noah, like you're going to show your drink, but it cannot compare to what you and Matt made with the Labrador tea put in, right?
We save for special occasions.
Yes. That seems like enough, eh? That's not bad. That's like a double each.
Maybe a little splash.
Another little splash. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, just a little. It's like the umbrella in the drink, right?
No, that would be very hard to replicate here in Halifax. The key ingredient is the water from the Aguanish watershed, and that's what we're missing here. But I do have a 40 Creek ginger, which is my go-to.
Lovely, lovely.
The whiskey is the same. On our trips, we bring 40 Creek. It's a staple, and it's also what I like to drink at home.
I was going to get to some really serious questions right off the bat, but I'm going to throw this one right now. Like, so if Eric and Alex joined you halfway through, right? And they gave you just two measly beers, like two. They flew in, and you were out for like 17 days at that point, bug bitten, sunburn, just like. And then, hey guys, we got some apples and we got a couple beers for you. Woo! And do you just want to punch them?
Oh, what's that you got there in your hand?
Yeah, those some apple candy, right?
Here you go, fellas.
Christian, I'm gonna take these.
Yo,
you guys take everything else.
We're good.
Okay.
2 weeks. Well, 17 days.
That's all?
Fresh apples.
Yeah.
That's the best. God bless you guys.
Oh my God.
Yo, what's good?
Brother.
Let's go!
Okay, so we brought you a little bit of a surprise. You guys have been out here for how many days now?
Day 17.
Day 17, a little over 2 weeks. We couldn't let you guys go another day
Oh my God!
without a couple cold pops.
No, anything they brought was exciting. The big thing, it was a cold beer too. You know, it wasn't just any beer; it was a cold beer. And I think I mentioned in the video that I didn't feel anything cold in 2 weeks. So.
Oh wow!
Wow. It was done pretty quickly though. So yeah, I would have enjoyed a second one.
Yeah.
We also did bring second ones out, but they were for us.
I noted that too. Like they said, "Can we have those?" And you're like, "Absolutely not." Even though you were just like put your foot off the plane, you're only on land for like 5 minutes. No, you can't have my beer. And these guys were almost dead. But no, it's all about you. Right.
I don't know if we actually put this in the series, but Eric had a line where he said that we had like probably 5 or 6 the night before, so they weren't as special for us. Just rubbing in even further. So.
Oh my God! And you flew in. Hope you didn't vomit. Oh man. All right, we're getting right into it. Sorry, we're going off in tangent already. So first of all, explain who you are. If anybody out there does not know who you are, and also what the heck did you just accomplish?
We are Northern Scavenger. So when it started, Alex and I grew up together in Etobicoke, Ontario. We became friends when we were about 4 years old, and we grew up doing different shenanigans around town. And we got into canoeing, and we slowly started doing more and more trips. And we were always into filming and photos, and it sort of was a natural progression into making a YouTube channel, which we now use to share our backcountry adventures online.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and you were really happy friends. And I met your mothers as well, and they're friends as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and guess where they are right now? They are in Belgium doing a 200-kilometer bike tour through the tulip fields out there.
Amsterdam.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I should have interviewed them instead of you guys, for heaven's sakes.
They're way more interesting than us.
All right. So why the separation? So you, so Noah and Matt, right? I got the, so I don't know Matt, but you and Matt.
Am I still sexy?
Oh, baby.
Headed out on the trip first, and then Alex and Eric joined after that.
We walked down to the water, basically 100 meters from the water. We found the trail. Instead of going down to the water, because it's a chainsaw like laden trail, we walked back up, and the trail starts 150 meters from when you boys dropped the canoe.
My god.
What was the whole reasoning behind
that? The main thing was just timing, and I was relatively new to a job at that time, and getting a full month off to be able to do this full trip just wasn't going to be possible at that time. So I'd say that was the main driver, but we did have some worries around COVID restrictions as well, which kind of played into just both teams being fully self-sufficient for whatever portions of the trip that they were going to be doing, because we just didn't know where restrictions were going to go at that time. Like there was a time when, like, I feel like there was a time that Nova Scotia was allowed to leave their province, but Ontario wasn't allowed, and vice versa. And it was just like all these things back and forth. And so for that reason, we had planned 2 fully self-sufficient trips just in case we couldn't meet up.
Okay, so no, does that mean you guys had enough food and gear to last if they didn't fly in?
Yeah, we were totally ready to. We were totally prepared if it was just us 2 out there.
Wow, that would have been tough.
This is a slab.
It's a hefty piece of cornbread.
And I'm just going to break it up.
I kind of like that. I like eating it like a bowl of cereal.
Thank you, Matt.
You're just going to go plain the whole way? You're going to get some topping on there.
What's our rations for peanut butter and
couple tablespoons per meal.
Per peanut butter and jam?
Yeah. Jam, we should probably go a little lighter.
Okay.
Yeah, it was super stressful to back up what Alex was saying with the whole COVID regulations, because they were provincially different as well, and we had to get through so many provinces to get to Labrador, and then it just worked out that we said, okay, we'll do it, and we'll just cross our fingers. And on July 1st, that weekend was when the Tuatin rail line opened up. And we just snuck in there for the first weekend it was open, and it couldn't have planned out better. And that was just pure luck that we got lucky with that.
Wow. At different times, at different times. So why the trip partner? So Matt, I'm gathering, is a workmate with you, Noah? And so you guys just pal together when you're in Nova Scotia, and that's why he went with you, or?
Yeah, so we met in 2019, a few months leading up to the Boreal to Barrenlands trip. And we do work together, and he's an avid outdoorsman, and we started doing weekend canoe trips together, fishing in backcountry Nova Scotia. And he was very keen and interested in doing a longer trip.
There's a bunch of mosquitoes eating that blood smear. Look at them.
Look at them, just like they're converging.
They're colonizing.
Oh my god.
I thought that was a piece of lab tea.
Yeah, you got to send this in to Nature is Metal. They're all just feasting. Oh, that's so gross. just thank God that we have this barrier between us and them for a brief period every night.
He just didn't have any other friends that were also interested in that. So it was sort of, over the years, we've done more and more trips together, and his skills were growing, the technical skills for a trip like this. And leading up to this past summer, I reached out to him and said, Matt, how do you feel about joining us on this trip this summer? And I don't even think it took him 10 seconds to say he was down to come.
So I thought I would just sort of skirt the edge of this thing, and I took one step too far. Just went right in. I think I can probably get out.
He also knew that he knew about you being a geologist and how exciting that job is and how exciting you are when talking about it.
All right, guys, it's been a while since I've done some geological chats, and this is a good one. We are literally going through an esker. This entire shoreline is made out of sediment from a glacier, and that's from meltwater flowing underneath the glacier, creating tubes of sediment. And I believe the geomorphological term for this is glaciolacustrine sediment.
He is well aware.
Okay. Because I saw that during the video. I was like, I don't think anybody really was listening to Noah when he's talking about the rocks.
How continental crust works, it kind of works like an iceberg. It floats on the mantle, and as the top erodes down, the actual crust itself lifts up, and the term is called isostasy.
And that's totally all right. Sometimes I like to talk about rocks.
All right, that's fine. All right, so Alex, you went with Eric. Now I don't know anything about Eric. He's really funny on camera.
We're getting absolutely smashed by bugs. It's party time.
Really charismatic, and I saw that you went to James Bay with them on that trip. So was that the reason why he went on this other trip, or?
Well, I think so. The James Bay trip was his first longer trip, and that was only a 2-week trip. But he had only really done weekend trips before that, or maybe 5 days or something like that, but hadn't done much longer than that. So that was his first jump up, and he loved it, minus the polar bear. But then so he definitely had an interest in it, and Noah was actually the one that originally introduced me to Eric. I don't know, 4 years ago now or something like that, maybe more. And but Eric is now one of my go-to tripping buddies here in Ontario, and as you saw, he's also one of the funniest guys that Noah and I know. So
oh my god, in eyeball, the last place to meet a black fly. That was my right one too, my good one. It's the mandarin. We found the mandarin. There's a buffet of human flesh. Check out this guy's right eye. It's untouched.
He makes for a great companion on these trips. He's definitely got that mentality of laughing it off in the face of whatever we're up against.
Well, speaking about laughing it off, let's get to the bugs. I know you guys are used to bad bugs, and maybe they are or are not, but they were insane. So the big question that I know a lot of people have while watching your series is why? Why go there?
Yeah, it's tough to avoid that in these areas, in the places we like to go travel.
But you survived it all. But there's got to be moments where you or the other guys just said, why are we even here?
Yeah, and you know what? If we didn't have a bug net, I would not be there. It's the bug nets were make these trips possible for us. I don't know how people back in the day, the early travelers and the indigenous, survived these lands without any bug protection. It's insane.
The ultimate question is for both of you is why that route, and what did you get out of the trip? What was the epiphany?
So I can speak to the trip a little bit. So I'm in Nova Scotia and Alex is in Ontario. So when we're planning a trip, we want to plan something that is somewhat between us. And we always like to go to a new area. So in 2019, we did the trip in Labrador, and we've really been looking at this Côte-Nord area for a while. Côte-Nord, the north shore of the St. Lawrence in Quebec, beautiful landscapes. There's wild rivers there, and it's about an equal distance between Alex and I. And there are a ton of rivers there. The Aguanish is one of several rivers you can paddle there. So the first reason was the logistics of getting there from Ontario and Nova Scotia, and the second was the Aguanish in particular. I don't know. I was just looking at a map a while ago and looking at all the lines that pour off the mountain range, and you have the Moisey, you have the Romaine. There's a lot of lines there, and the Aguanish stuck out to me because I didn't know much about it, and that then piqued my curiosity to do a little more research on it, and then the interest of how could you get to the headwaters by the Tooten rail line. So it was the curiosity that initiated it, and then the idea of the unique mixed trip you'd get from starting at the rail line, going over through the big lakes of the Labrador Plateau, crossing over a height of land, and reaching this river that is what the Guy Dorr in 1985 did a trip there, and he said it was the most diverse river that he's paddled in the Côte-Nord region. So the diversity was a big draw for us for the Aguanish.
Wow, yeah. I mean, you think about that scene. I think it's a really great scene. Is near the end. I think it's episode 7 or whatever, and you're doing all that rapids, and someone says, "Look behind you," and that whole big cliff behind you.
You guys had that rock wall behind you, and it was like, oh my god.
I was wondering what you were pointing at. Now I see.
We were both just like,
You look so small, like just rocking down these like swifts, and I was like, yo, this is so cool.
We were both in awe, and then we just beached.
And because you're so engulfed in running the rapids, you don't really see what's behind you until you're finished. And then boom, the scenery is just amazing, right?
Eric and I got pretty hung up in that set of rapids because it was just like low key swifts. But I turned around at one point and saw that cliff, and I was like, man, you need to see this. And I flipped the full canoe around so that we were going backwards, but neither of us were looking where we were headed. And we ended up getting hung up and had to fix ourselves.
Oh man, well, because there was major rapids on that trip, especially you think about when Matt and Noah in the beginning, you hit that big water, and even the churn up water at the end, which I find really more scary than everything. It's just like, oh, you think you're done, but you're not, because it's just this whirlpool of water, and you filled up with water and stuff like that, and you said like we should have put the deck on, we should have done this, we should have done that, whatever. But that was major water, but then later on, I think the more technical stuff was even more difficult than that.
Draw.
Do you find that actually communication is really critical during all that? Because you hear in the video, go left. How did you get through?
Communication, biggest thing. Even we have a thing. So Matt and I have paddled a lot together in Nova Scotia. Alex and I have that chemistry from growing up together. But sometimes, even if you're not communicating, sometimes the guy in the front can have a different thought than the guy in the back. So by just vocalizing your moves, it helps keep the boat synchronized and be able to go down the lines. And it just without communication, we'd probably get into more situations where we sink the boat or flip or something. Communication is the biggest thing when we run rapids.
Well, not even going downriver, but when you lined up, it seems like you need more communication for that than actually going downstream. The lining is like you said, it's an art form, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, lining comes with its own challenges, and definitely Eric and I had one point, and it was on the same day we made a mistake on a set of rapids and ended up hitting like the one big feature that we wanted to avoid. But that same day, lining also got us into trouble at one point where the canoe started we ran the canoe through the chute that we were trying to run it through, but then the canoe started getting sucked back towards the chute again. And so, you know, us both being able to communicate what to do in that situation, we got it out luckily, but it's totally key.
Let's go to the canoe repair. That happened to Noah's boat, right? I mean, it was an old boat, so it was meant to happen in one sense.
I put on a second layer of the fiberglass cloth just to give it a little extra strength. It's not pretty, but
It's authentic.
I love the black flies mixed up with the gel coat. Oh my god. So you were well prepared. Even when was it Matt or Eric? No, I think it was Matt went over his first aid kit. Like that was a solid first aid kit. So you guys know what you're doing. You have all the gear that you could ever imagine. But when you had to fix that boat, or even fix the paddle, or not fix the paddle, you needed a new paddle and then another paddle, right?
Literally snapped right in half. I lost the paddle part of this. We couldn't find it. And luckily I had another paddle on board that I was able to get us out of the set without being in a situation. But yeah, this is kind of rattling, especially that I thought aluminum paddles had a lot more durability than this. Luckily, between the four of us, we have 8 paddles, and we did some paddle swaps, so I could use Alex's spare paddle for whitewater, which is a wide blade. The end split. The paddle situation isn't as fresh as it was yesterday.
Did you see that for coming, or did you sort of say, yeah, that boat should be fine?
So
We were nervous about the boat, I would say.
yeah, we were definitely nervous, but we did have enough faith that it can get us down the river. But we had a repair kit that we thought, we built a repair kit with the thought, if we break this boat in half, we could repair it enough to be able to float down the river. And the skiff canyons, the skiff T-Formax are very durable boats, and we've definitely pushed it to its limit. But we continue to push the same boat to the limit, and eventually it's going to have that point where it doesn't float anymore. And the crack we saw on the bottom of the boat was a new sort of experience with that boat, because it was a crack that was horseshoe, which we've never seen before. So we definitely were a little concerned there, especially knowing we still had over 400 kilometers to paddle.
Wow. But at the same time, guys, like you had the equipment to fix it. You weren't newbies, right? So that I think that was really cool. I think it was really good for people to watch that, see how you actually can fix a boat in the middle of nowhere. So, man, you got to talk about the bear trash in the cabin. Like, wow.
yep. Yeah, this place got totally wrecked.
Wow, there was nothing left of the inside of that cabin, right? And well, you explained the whole thing. It was Americans that owned the cabin and they hadn't been there for a while?
Yeah, so it turns out they haven't been here since COVID, so pre-2019. So in that time frame, a bear was able to get in. And as you saw, those things were ravenous. Destroyed the cabin and trashed it. But luckily enough, there was contact information on the walls of the cabin. So we ended up reaching out to the owners. I was talking to Mark, who was one of the owners, and he happened to be going up there a couple weeks after I gave him a ring, and there was new information for him. He didn't know there was a bear that came in. So it hopefully gave him a little bit of a heads up, and he ended up going there, and they've totally cleaned it up. It's like brand new again.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it was amazing, actually. Nice cabin inside, a nice location, and the fishing along the whole thing was amazing. I was watching your Q&A thing the other day too, and fishing was odd because there's certain areas where you couldn't fish. There's certain areas where you needed special fishing licenses. There was other areas where you just need a regular license. So how did that work? Because you went through Quebec and Labrador, right?
Yeah. So Quebec is fine. You just need to get a non-resident fishing license, and you can get that over the counter. The Labrador fishing regulations are a little more convoluted, and it's depending on where you are, there's specific regulations, and then if you're a non-resident, it's tough to do that as well. So there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through, and we ended up just not even bothering, and we just didn't fish in Labrador.
I make a move. He's gonna go. Jesus. That is a big ass pike. You want pliers? Yes. Woo-hoo-hoo! It's a big pike.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that because you knew Alex couldn't fish, whether he was in the province or not, or?
Yeah. So there's no point even trying.
Yeah, I figured that. Yeah.
That was actually the real reason I didn't join for that portion of the trip. I said I'll wait till you get to Quebec, because like I'm not gonna fish there in Labrador anyways. So
You guys haven't changed a bit. Oh my! I'm trying to keep to a script here for episode because we have two of you, not just one. So I have to get the cheap version of the Zooms. We gotta keep it going. Oh yeah. Who smelled the worst at the end?
Also, fun fact, this entire woods here has some of the best moss toilet paper that you'll find. Let me get a good patch for you here to show you. You want moss with long roots that are relatively all consistent and kind of moist. You want to be able to squeeze it and get a couple drips of water to come out. Let's try it out. Little drip. Up. This is some of the best stuff because it absorbs and it's dense and it's cool. This entire forest floor is full of butt wipes. It's amazing. I wish I could go to the washroom right now to show you guys.
Good question.
I don't think any of us were testing that.
Yeah, we all just smelled like stale clothes and BO.
Well, you know what? I don't think we smelled that bad. I think we kept up with good hygiene, because when we got to the end, we needed to pick up a ride from Aguanish to the town of Natashquan, where all our cars were, and we got picked up by two chicks. So it couldn't have been that bad. They drove us all the way there. So I feel like they wouldn't have done that. And they did have like a pass. Like, it's not like we caught them at the side of the road. They pulled over and it was too late. Once we were in the car, they walked by us first. They would have had an opportunity to deny the ride, and they came back with a car to pick us up. So like, must not have been that bad.
I'm speechless at this point. So, I'm watching the whole film, and there's Noah and Matt and their great journey, and all of a sudden, like, you guys arrive out of nowhere. Well, not out of nowhere, but here they are. And it's group dynamics, right? So because Noah and Matt had gone through hell, and then you guys arrive, and then was there any sort of like, you arrived to the party late, man? Like, where were you? Or was it just like hugs and kisses?
Yeah, it was interesting. I was curious what the group dynamics were going to be like, because you think about when you're out there on a trip, like, I don't know if it's like a Zen state really, but it's like you're kind of at peace, and planes are loud, and Eric and I are loud, and I was wondering what was going to happen when we came flying in with our energy levels like up here, and meeting up with two canoeists who are like 17 days into their Zen state, and I wondered what that was going to be like. But also, Noah and I hadn't seen each other in almost 2 years, and like there was like a whole bunch more there that was just like I think overrode that whole thing. Also, we had some like weird vibes around the plane ride. It turns out we all had bad thoughts in our head about just like where we were with that plane ride, and none of us were really talking about it until after. And when we landed, I was kissing the ground. Like, I was just thankful to have, like, my brain just went to a bad place for that,
What? Why? Because the pilot, or what? What was that?
Well, so it wasn't necessarily a pilot or anything. It was just like I just had a weird vibe around the whole thing, and I think it kind of stemmed from on our Labrador trip. There was the unfortunate plane crash that happened on Mistaston Lake, And that was almost 2 years to the day that we were flying out. And 2 weeks before the trip, the family that had lost some of their family members on that trip reached out to me, and they had finally seen the Labrador documentary and the Labrador series, and it provided healing for them, and it was like a good news story for them. But just the timing of it hit me a little weird, and I think just like I kind of got in my head thinking like those 7 guys that lost their lives on Mistassin Lake, like kind of that they were out to get a similar adventure to like what we were looking for. And I think that was, I just kind of started getting into my head about that. And I was like, it's crazy. Like this can kind of happen to anyone. And so anyways, we all kind of had like bad, like we were just like, I don't know why, but I just don't feel great about this flight right now. And so I was definitely thankful to touch down and then see our friends out there and continue on.
That's incredible, because you think about it, you were more worried about the flight in than you were worried about the paddle out, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, it was kind of funny once we landed to shift our mindsets to be like, okay, yeah, I forgot why we were here again. Like, let's go paddle, I guess.
Man, that's incredible. That's incredible. Yeah, again, because I got the cheaper version of Zoom, we got like just over 7 minutes left. So I'm gonna skip a whole bunch of questions and just go to like 3 solid ones. I was going to talk about the portages. They were brutal. Given I mean, you have to watch the film, everybody. Brutal portages, especially near the end, where I don't even think there was a portage.
So I put it on my back. I took one premature step. I go like this. And the canoe starts going back. So I duck and I grab the canoe, and then the canoe slides down. Did you hear me scream? Yeah. That's what happened.
Did you hear me scream?
I think the most important question I really wanted to get to for you guys too is like a year or 2 years ago, or maybe a year ago, there was some really sort of I would call elitist paddlers, older paddlers that were knocking you and a bunch of other people on social media, saying you didn't sort of talk about the culture of the area. You were going there to almost like going to the moon, like I've conquered, look at me. Almost like knocking the youth of today, the young paddlers, like look at them, they don't know what they're talking about. And I know you read some of that and saw some of that. And then I watched your film, and I got to say, I completely disagree with all those people. Like you guys did an awesome trip. The video was incredible. I don't know why you're not getting like millions of views for this. I think all the people that are doing YouTubes right now is fantastic, but your series you did was friggin' awesome. And at the storyline, the characters, the filming, the aerial views, the audio was all done amazing. So how do you feel about that? Do you get annoyed with the people that are knocking you because they're older and wiser, or, well, I wouldn't call them wiser, but they have opinions on social media that you are doing it for the wrong reasons? I guess the way to answer this is I'm going to, instead of chatting about it, what was your reason to go? That might answer the reason. Or the answer, sorry.
I can maybe take a stab at the first part, but before we get into the reason, like, I feel like when you're online, there's going to be a lot of people that have opinions on what you're doing. And Noah and I like to describe a lot of these kind of comments. Like we've seen all sorts of comments on our channel, and we call them keyboard warriors, like the people that sit behind their keyboards and, you know, get their frustration. There's all sorts of like negative comments that you hear, but like Noah and I like to, we do listen, and if there's constructive criticism that we can take to make ourselves better, we're not experts ourselves. We've been learning all along. I don't think we've ever called ourselves experts. Like we've been like slowly learning every year. And I think that's why a lot of people do resonate with us, is like, we're not trying to like be the best out there. We're just trying to improve every year. And I feel like we try to push ourselves every year, and that's always been our goal. So if there's like criticism or anything like that we're able to take and actually implement, we always try to do that. I think maybe Noah, you want to speak to like the why we did this trip?
Yeah, and I think the why is different for everyone. You know, like people get different things out of experiences, and something that gets me excited doesn't necessarily get Alex excited. or you, Kevin.
Is that rocks, Noah?
I was getting to the rocks, but there's definitely a personal. Everyone's looking for something different in life and on canoe trips, and I would say from a high level perspective for these trips, I've never felt more present than I do on these canoe trips, and I think that's the biggest thing for me, is being totally immersed in the moment, problem solving, moving my body all day, being in pristine, beautiful landscapes with friends. It's just that experience I've never found anywhere else in life.
That's fantastic. Cheers to you guys. And I'll end it there. We've only got 1 minute left. That's fantastic. Good luck for the next adventure, and what you guys have done since your boyhood friendship has been amazing. Okay, and keep it up. Keep up enthusiasm. Enthusiasm. Blah, blah.
Thank you, Kevin. We definitely have you to thank for some of our progress there over the years. So you've definitely helped us a lot of.
If you bring the Uncle Kevin up, I'm out of here.
I was gonna say it, but
I'm just let you know that my memoir will be out soon in a few weeks, and you're the last chapter. That's all I got to say.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Cheers.
The Senecal. The Senecal. The mosquitoes are thick. We'll need that Benadryl. Oh man, it's gonna be shivers as we track up the river to the height of land. Yeah, baby boy. Thank you, seagulls.